Hello once again, YouTube. Chris the Nightbringer here, bringing you some StarMade Station Reviews. But today, before we get into that, I would just like to respond to what appears to be a concerned comment about how I was still revealing my favorites for the station contest. Now, I am giving a rating on these stations, and I am critiquing these stations, and I hope you guys understand that a critique is very different from my personal favorites. I can give every single one of these stations a 10 out of 10, and that's not going to tell you which station is going to be picked by me for the Trading Guild category, or for any category. I mean, after all, there are 34 stations to get through, and I have no doubt that more than 5 of those will get very high scores from me. A critique is not about what I like. It's about me recognizing what works and what doesn't work. This is something I learned when I was in college for design. You know, I went to college, I studied fine art, design, multimedia design, all sorts of stuff, and graphics design, of course. And I was, I was forced to express what I thought worked and didn't work about pieces of art, and this applies to how I deal with the critiques in StarMade. I'm not telling you guys which ones are my favorites. I'm telling you guys which ones I think were executed well. I mean, again, I will have my personal 5, but you guys will not know which ones they are. So I hope you guys understand that. I don't want, again, anyone to feel like their station sucks if I give them a low rating. I am trying to encourage people to do better if I think they need to do better. And I'm giving them an exact response as to what I think they could have done to make their station better. It's not like I'm saying your station sucks and moving on. I'm giving a valid point, or at least what I believe is a valid point. And on top of that, even though I say I like what somebody has done with a particular station, it doesn't mean that I will be picking their station for the final result, for the final poll. I mean, I'm still picky about things. I'm actually far pickier when it comes to which ones I will be picking for this contest than the ratings I'm giving them. So, with that being said, let's get on with the station review. I'm sorry I took up a bit of your time, Stoffhimmel, but we're taking a look at the Rest and Relaxation Station by Stoffhimmel. So, from what I've gathered on the download page, it is a Rest and Relax Station with a pagoda inside this dome, and apparently he's gone overboard with the stats on the shields, but that's of no concern to me because we are focusing on the design. So I would like to say I can immediately see that there is very little to no wedging on this station, and I think it would definitely benefit if that was done. However, I can see that, he did try and break up the external bits by putting in this pattern. There are 2 massive doors circling this station, which is kind of cool, but at the same time it's a little funky because this isn't an exact circular door, I guess? I'm not entirely sure how a door like that would work, but again, it is a game. It's interesting. I like the dome. It's a bit traditional with that, right? It's got the, it's inspired, I guess, by the current defaults, abandoned stations, especially with these dangling little bits here, which is kind of neat. Again, some wedging could be done here, and even more objects could be placed under this in order to give it a little bit more of an interesting, look. Wedging could be applied to this as well. I'm not sure, and I cannot remember if the Tetras and Petras were in the game when the station contest was going. I have a feeling they were. I just don't remember. I really don't. We got some lights down here, and this bulbous shape, which I'm assuming is filled with some systems. Hey, and that's good. This entire ring here is filled with systems, or this pole, I should say, that's extending downward, but there is a bit of stuff down here. So I guess you won't be able to access that. But if we go inside, and we pretend we have docked our ship, I put a build block down. Here is the faction module and a gravity module. I think, again, more stuff could have been done to the inside here. Perhaps put some patterns into the flooring for some landing areas. I personally think that the faction module could have been moved to a better location. It seems out of place placing it inside the landing bay, and the gravity module again could have been placed. You could place gravity modules underneath the ships themselves on the docking areas or inside the docking areas as long as they're flush with the floor. Because if you here. Not to say that this is exactly what this person should have done. Oh, I can't do that. I tried to pick a block like you can do in Minecraft creative mode. Wow, my bad. Anyway, let's just move on. Go up the elevator and let's see what we got up here. So we got some hallways and some doors. I am liking the fact that the doors have a little bit of a lip. It gives them some shape. It makes them, you know, not square like so many things in this game, right? These hallways could do possibly with a bit of color, but there is a bit of depth to them with this doorway. The lights do break up the wall a bit, but they could have added either a different color or some depth to this hallway. Or maybe both, I think. So if we come in here, we got a room. This looks like a medical bay, of course. Again, more things could have been placed inside this room. There's a lot of empty space. And if you're going to have empty space, well then there's honestly no reason in making it at all. And that's the thing, if you plan on having a large room like this, you've got to have an idea as to what you're going to place in it. Otherwise, there really is no point in building on such a large scale. If this is all you wanted to place, then you really could have cut this room in half and still utilized it, and it would have looked better that way too, because majority of it would have been filled with interesting objects to look at. Something else you need to keep in mind is that if you're going to have large structure like this and large areas, then you need to fill it up a bit. So I'm going to open every single door so we know exactly where we have been, because it looks like this is getting a bit complicated now. This looks like a little ring that goes around the center. I'm not entirely sure what the point of this is. And there's a lot of doors here, and I don't know if those are all necessary. Got an elevator that goes up, I'm assuming, to the pagoda. If we come down here, we can take a look at some of the other rooms. This looks like some sort of computer database room. Got some servers here. And one computer terminal that runs it all. Conference room of some sort, with a big chair, holy crap. And what appears to be a little bar stand. Let's see what else is in this station. Nothing in this room. And some more medical in this room. Okay, that's interesting. There's the other elevator down to the hangar. And there's gotta be something down here. Ah, okay, so the Plexon detonator for some reason is in this room instead of the medical base. And this room is empty. Let's go check out the pagoda. It's got the 4 doors. Alright, so all in all, I think this does need a lot of work to get to, you know, a more interesting state. I'm not going to say that's not finished because, you know, a lot of work has gone into this in order to make it to where it is right now. There's a build block over here. I assume that's, you know, that was already placed there by the builder. I'm not sure. This was downloaded, after all, from the pack that NDP released after these stations were already put up on the dev server. So, I'm going to say definitely needs wedging. Definitely needs more interesting things happening on the inside. There's a lot of empty rooms and empty space, and that needs to be addressed, I think, because, you know, without all of those things, it just becomes an empty room. And, well, frankly, even though I guess it could be argued that the player could build their own stuff in those rooms, they could also just as easily take out something that they don't want. So it doesn't hurt to build your own stuff in these rooms. Nobody's going to be mad that they have to take out things, because honestly that just gives them resources. And there's, you know, other stations to find in the universe where those features will remain intact. So for the internal and external design, I'm going to say internal design is like a 5 out of 10. It definitely could use a lot more work. There are some things there, and they've definitely got, you know, a plan for how the build was going to go. There's, you know, some interesting elements, but it definitely needs work. In the exterior, I'm going to say a 6 out of 10. Needs wedging. I think it could do with some more interesting features on the external side. But other than that, overall, it looks pretty cool. I like the idea of a relaxation station. Overall execution, I'd say, as rest and relaxation station, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. As a trade guild station, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I don't know if the trade guild is particularly interested in this type of stuff. They are traders after all, but I'm not going to say that it's wrong for a trade guild station to have a station like this. After all, it is, you know, given their colors and whatnot, it's entirely possible that all those hardworking traders do need a place to stay. Who knows? This may have a place in your universe. So, thanks for watching. That was Rest and Relaxation Station. What a mouthful. By Stoffemil. I hope you enjoyed this station review. Check out more by subscribing to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. The critique is very different from my personal favorites. I can give every single one of these stations a 10 out of 10, and that's not going to tell you which station is going to be picked by me for the Trading Guild category, or for any category. Hello once again, YouTube. Chris the Nightbringer here, bringing you some StarMade Station Reviews, but today, before we get into that, I would just like to respond to, I mean, after all, there are 34 stations to get through, and I have no doubt that more than 5 of those will get very high scores from me. A critique is not about what I like. It's about me recognizing what appears to be a concerned comment about how I was still revealing my favorites for the station contest. Now, I am giving a rating on these stations, and I am critiquing these stations, and I hope you guys understand that works and what doesn't work. This is something I learned when I was in college for design. You know, I went to college, I studied fine art, design, multimedia design, all sorts of stuff, and graphics design, of course.